What's happening, fam? L.A.R. movement still moving. Book is entitled "Lessons from a Non-Custodial Father" at Amazon, Kindle, and Create Space. Link will be in the description box below as usual. Go get it. PayPal link there also. They asked me to put it up, so I'll put it up. Thanks everybody for supporting. This video is entitled "She's Not Nurturing." So I was on a panel last night, and nurturing was part of the discussion. And it sparked me to get on the panel actually. And I don't think this is discussed enough. Where even online when we get on having these discussions about black male and female relationships, it's the men are supposed to be protectors and providers, but the women don't understand nurturing. And I listen to BGS in the Coliseum, and a young lady came on, and I listened to her on another panel, and she's real rah-rah and energy. She get ultra aggressive and disrespectful but not knowing that it's disrespectful. I don't see how you don't, but whatever. But the thing about it is, you don't see nurturing in that. And sometimes you got like Nicole Michelle, she talks about getting the bag, and you got, I think it's Shira, she talks about getting the bag, but in two completely different ways. And the elephant in the room is you're looking for guys who are quote unquote providers and protectors, but you're not nurturing these guys, and you have no intentions of doing it, and you have no intentions of learning how to do it if you weren't taught. And part of the reason I'm saying that is because they were talking about guys traveling and going abroad, kind of the sex tourism type of thing. And I said, it's really no different traveling abroad or being in the States, because at this point you see these guys are actually just paying for women to be nice to them. The dating process, the courting process, the sex tourism process, it's you're basically going out and paying somebody to treat you with kindness and be nice to you. And the problem with that is when there's going to be a resentment there, because now you're selling kindness, which means you don't have it to begin with. This is snake oil. You get what I'm saying? So she's not nurturing. Now, when you get these guys and they talk about their experiences nationwide, you don't hear of them being in relationships with women who nurtured them, who cared for them, and the responses that the normal narrative responses you hear is what I'm not gonna do for no man, or if you caring for the guy, I'm not your mama. And here's the problem: these guys never asked you to be their mama, but on top of that, if you're not going to do anything for them, you don't care for them, why are you with them? And this is where, the transactional relationship things go. I want something out of him, and I'm supposed to give something to him, but I'm going to give him kindness on a discount on a Groupon. I ain't going to give him 100% kindness. I'm going to give him 37. You know what I'm saying? And not understanding what these guys are going to do, or what these guys are doing. And you see these guys widening their options of dating, because the traveling and the interracial dating is not just about self-hate. It's about wanting to be around people who actually care about you, or are willing to care about you, or put in some type of effort or go the extra mile for you. And this rebelliousness to caring for these guys, or to making an effort for these guys, or going the extra mile for these guys, is went to epic proportions, to the point where I don't even even when sometimes I listen to some of the sisters talk about it, their reservations for what they're not gonna do. Even the stories first of all, the stories are less and less about what somebody actually did to them. And if you talk, and then when you start getting down to these quote unquote stories, these are like red flag relationships to begin with. And the issue with that is, and that's, red flags can exist in people that are great people. You know what I'm saying? But the issue with that is when you juxtapose that against guys who are actually more stand up and are actually the image of the type of men that you wish these men were, you don't nurture those guys. So you're not nurturing. Especially to the guys that you want, the guys that you don't, that you've been scorned by to be. You know, the guys who are honest, not nurturing. The guys who are providers, not nurturing. The guys who are protectors, not nurturing to them. And one thing kept coming up about the raising young boys, and they asked the sisters on the panel, you know, do you see these mothers nurturing their sons? And they were like, no. So understand, a lot of us as grown men, we are so accustomed to women not being nurturing and not caring about us, or just caring about us, what they can get out of us, or what they can use us for. You know, either a tool, pet, servant, you know, type of situation, that they didn't realize at some point these guys just check out. Like, okay, I'm not doing this no more. And I don't know why that's a culture shock. Because if you're not nice to somebody, they're gonna leave. You know, or if you know you're just gonna part ways. That's a natural thing. And I think it's problematic to see these situations where people are upset at men from walking away from women who aren't nice to them. You should be a strong black man and just stay. No, man, you're not gonna get treated like it doesn't make, you know. First of all, you don't necessarily have to love a man first. You got to respect them. So if these guys are actually respectable and you don't respect them, they're not gonna stay around because they don't want to be disrespected. You know, they're not. You know, if you're a certain type of man, I won't disrespect you. Nobody wants to play that game because it's going to constantly, the goalpost is going to constantly get moved. So if you're not nurturing, it is what it is. And to ask these guys to stay is asinine. And you know, and I didn't realize this, but even on the panel with BGS, they asked the young lady, because she was talking about, you know, guys dating outside the race. And they asked, okay, so, and basically she was talking about the guy's sons who he said started dating interracially or whatever. And she didn't like that. And he asked her, he said, okay, if I wanted to hook my sons up with you, what are your good qualities? And basically she just said the answer was she black. That's a problem. I know, and some people are like, nah, I mean, that's just one person. I get it's just one person, but the problem isn't the person. The problem is, you know, you can get that ridiculous type of answer from a lot of people, because when it comes to nurturing the men, it's like, I ain't doing it. You know, you don't cook for the guy, you won't clean, you won't be nice to him, you won't seduce him, you won't do any type of kind gestures for him, you know. And when you're hearing, you know, these quote unquote relationships and become situationships, because the situation is he's not getting anything nice out of it, and you want him to stay. And you know, the lack of marriage has something to do with that. Guys are checking out of why are guys going to sign up to be a husband for somebody who doesn't want to be a wife because she doesn't want to do anything nurturing to her quote unquote husband. And you hear men who are married who, you know, have wives who were told that that being a wife was a bad thing. You got single women who believe being nice to a guy is a bad thing. It always has to have a caveat. So if she's not nurturing, you just gonna move on. And you might wind up being a bachelor, or you might wind up being a player because, you know, you might like the companionship, you might like the sex, but you can't take the disrespect and the lack of care for you as a human being. So if she's not nurturing, you know, you just can't stay. So that's the gist of this one. We done. Like, share, subscribe. Catch you on the next one. Peace.